CaringCareersStartHere.com. Providing connections to the lives of aging Minnesotans by helping people discover careers in caregiving. More information at CaringCareersStartHere.com.
You know how you stay young? There's a saying that goes, if you don't move, you won't move. And there's a lot of truth to that. So stay active, because they will ask me, how come you're still doing? I said, I have to do these things. I enjoy doing. Do what you enjoy. Don't say you can't do it.
Hi, I'm Melissa Fritz, host of Inside Senior Living. As a senior living consultant during the COVID pandemic and a daughter who lost her father to Alzheimer's dementia, my inspiration for this work comes from a deeply personal place. I've seen firsthand the challenges families face when navigating the complexities of aging. Over the years, I've dedicated myself to equipping older adults and their families with the information and resources they need to make the best decisions, whether that means receiving care in their own home or making a move to a senior living community. And as we all age, this need is only going to grow. That's why we're on a mission to spark conversations, support caregivers, provide valuable resources, and promote a more age-friendly world. Meet Shirley, a vibrant woman in her 90s who defies expectations. A true matriarch of a close multi-generational family, Shirley balances her active lifestyle with the love and support she gives her children and grandchildren.
Glemma is a light. She's the person that walks into a room and people are drawn to her. She's just a very glamorous person from the inside out. So, we took glamorous and grandma and put them together.
Shirley, how does it feel to hear your children and your granddaughter describe you?
It's wonderful. I love it. My mother and my grandmother were my biggest inspirations. My mother, she was really gifted and smart, and she just did everything, and that's where I got it from, I guess. I left home at 18. I graduated at 18, and the following week I was here because my sister and I were very close, and she had moved up here the year before. I could hardly get through my senior year for wanting to be up here with her. And my mom got sick after I left home. But because Des Moines, Iowa wasn't that far, we were going back and forth, no freeways, but we were going back and forth all the time. And then in September, this was in June, in September I asked her, would you like for me to come home and take care of you? And she said, no, you have a job, and I want you to stay there with your job so that you can take care of yourself.
My mom was a very, very good mom. Manners were very important to them. We called everybody Mr. and Mrs. We didn't know people's first name back then. She participated in my dancing, which I started at 4 years old. Tapping belly, she was there every week taking notes. We enjoyed that. And we cooked together. I was a pioneer girl. So we cooked together, we shopped together. We did a lot of things together when I was a little girl.
Up until my 6th grade year, the best I remember my mother was always being there. Excellent homemaker. Everything in the house was in order. Everything in my life was in order. When my parents got divorced in 6th grade, I think it affected her, my mother, in a way that enabled her to grow, to become a woman. I don't even know if she knew at that time who she was. I watched my mom completely change from not quiet, but more subdued, than watch her flourish in her life, become the woman who she is now.
My mom started working at Honeywell. I don't remember how old I was. And imagine this, she was a desk girl. She started out.
I worked for Honeywell for 30 years, And I actually broke 2 barriers there. I started in the factory, then I became the first African American desk clerk they ever had. Then I became the first African American woman production coordinator. So I was real excited about that because there were so many things before I went to Honeywell that I wanted to do and could not do them because of being an African American. The first thing was I wanted to be an airline. They called them stewardesses at that time. And my mother said to me, honey, they don't have colored, they called us colored then. They don't have colored stewardesses. And I cried.
Shirley's story is one of professional accomplishment, self-determination, and optimism. Her strength is mirrored in her children, who've had their own series of challenges. Tell me about your military service.
Awesome. My military service was wonderful. I wanted to go after high school. I was only 17. My parents wouldn't sign for me. So 6 days before I graduated from college, I joined the National Guard. Oh boy, my dad did not like that at all. But I promised him that I would become an officer. And so I was the first African American to graduate from the Minnesota Military Academy. And I was a school teacher for about 16 years. And I had a daycare in my house for about 2 years. And then I was diagnosed with glaucoma. So I had to retire kind of early. And now that I've lost my sight completely, I still do my adaptive sports. I travel around the country, and from like February through September, I'm somewhere every month, sometimes twice a month. They allow me to drive the carts when I'm golfing. They allow me to drive a snowmobile in Colorado. And that's what I do. I just do adaptive sports. I just think I have a wonderful life. Truly I do, because not too many people get to do all these things, you know? And had I not lost my sight, I might not be doing all these things. So, yeah, I have a very positive outlook about that part.
Oh, well, like I say, my daughter taps into everything, okay? That's the way I have to explain that. She really does, and I'm so proud of her for not being afraid to do anything. And like I say, she's always had more guts than I've had.
Who helps you, Deanna?
Who helps me? I have a nurse that's through the VA. She comes out and sets up my medication for me. And then I have someone that comes. I have 10 hours a week. They come and help me with my shopping and my cleaning. I do my own cooking and laundry. But so that's really about the help. Well, Mom's always running me somewhere, because I always got other stuff to do, you know.
When Danny, he was spoiled. I probably spoiled him. My daughter was a daddy's girl, okay? Anything she wanted, or he would do with her or see to it that she did it. And then I was kind of like that with Danny. And when he decided to go into the military, I thought I was going to have a stroke.
As far as joining the military, my father was really not happy with it, but he didn't fight me on it. He asked me, was I sure that that's what I wanted to do? My mother, I don't think she really cared for it either, especially when I told her I was going to jump out of airplanes. I was that kid who was afraid of heights. I couldn't even walk on the outside of the bridge crossing 35W. I mean, I really couldn't. And for some reason, I wanted to jump out of airplanes, do something different. I think my mother's very, very proud of it now, the things that I did. But she also sees the effects of some of the things that I went through and the challenges that I've had through the last couple decades because of it. I think for the first 10 or 20 years I was out, I had no idea on how the impact of a couple of events that happened in my life, because I think part of the military mentality is whatever happens, happens, and you deal with it. That's just the way it is, and you don't own up to it. Because if something traumatic happens physically or mentally, you'll lose your You lose your air traffic control status, you lose your jump status, you lose all this, then you change career fields. So all that did was feed into the mentality that I decided to adopt when I was 6 years old playing football. Like, I'm okay. So the impact that it's had, I thank God for my now former wife of 10 years, Tammy. She started to bring to my attention how I was living, my eating patterns, my sleeping patterns. Becoming aware of it made me realize that maybe my choices of using drugs and alcohol over the decades was because of that. That's I guess the downside of it. The upside is that purpose. The mantra or the motto of leave no man behind is greater than just the battlefield. For me and a few other guys that just recently met at the St. Cloud VA hospital, we're out to get the homeless guys, pull them off the street and hopefully give them some hope, because I've been going through this for 3 decades. I understand.
I would encourage veterans to reach out and, even if you don't need assistance with a particular issue right now, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So the best thing you can do is, as I said, go to your county veteran service officer and just sit down and have the conversation about what all is out there and what all you may be eligible for. And as I said also, it's not a lifetime. Once you learn that information once, it's not static information. It's something that changes over time. I guess with that too, it goes back to my own stepfather, who's a Vietnam veteran. And it's kind of common in the older generations, and I think in a lot of men in general as well, but they don't want to ask because they're afraid it'll take away from someone else. And it's simply not the case. Actually, by not going and getting those services from the VA, they don't have the status or they don't have the statistics to show their need and to show that the budgets are necessary to provide the funding for those services. So when you're enrolled in the VA hospital or when you're receiving a VA disability compensation, that is mandatory funding that goes every year. And the more people that are added to those roles, the more money that goes to VA to provide that. It takes away from no one.
Through it all, Shirley's the glue that holds the family together.
Well, I think the thing I'm most proud of my mother is how she has kept our family together. There's been a lot of trials and tribulations, but Mama's always been there no matter what's going on, no matter what you did. She will forgive you and carry on. She's just been a good mom, wonderful mom.
My mother's support has been to the point where if it wasn't for her support, I probably wouldn't have a relationship with my children. I went through decades of struggles and in and out of different facilities. And we used to come here to this very house. My mother would pick up my children and we would come and spend the weekend here. Her faith has held her through not only my antics, but life in general. I mean, life is tough, and it becomes more tough when you watch your children struggle. And if it wouldn't be for the Lord, honestly, I think she would have given up.
Beyond her role in the family, Shirley's passions keep her thriving. Whether it's creating a business sewing dolls, striking a pose for the camera, or singing in the choir, Shirley's a testament to the power of staying physically and socially active.
My grandmother was a seamstress, my mother was a seamstress, and my sister and I became seamstress. Everybody in the family sewed.
So first they started out with clothes, then they moved into the rag kind of dolls, and then they moved into the ones that actually have the plastic arms, and they say are just beautiful.
The dolls are something her grandma and her sister, Aunt Gloria, started a while back, and I think, from what I understand, it was just for fun, and then it kind of, turned into a business.
We decided to start making dolls and other crafts, like bag ladies. They're old with the old-fashioned hair, and then you put your plastic bags in and you could hang them on the wall. We used to be vendors in California, especially during Black History Month, and then in Vegas also, in the stores. You could sit in the aisles where you walk around to the different stores, and they'd have vendors there. And we would be vendors with our dolls. It was just something we enjoyed doing.
My first doll was the cloth doll, and it has an outfit that I also have. So I have a matching outfit with this doll, and it's so cute. I still have the outfit. It is hanging at my mother's house, specifically in what we call the grandbaby room. And everybody knows they're not allowed to touch it. This is not.
I am here at the Sebastian Community Center for the opening of the new museum. This is Black History Month, and I will be with the Vocal Essence Vintage Choir to do the opening of the program.
Take a deep breath in and
I love it, love it, love it. It's called Vocal Essence Sabathani Vintage Choir. Vocal Essence is a big group of people that I think they have over 100 people in the choir.
In fact, I sang with them for a couple years until I couldn't see the words anymore. But she loves to sing. And she's in a couple of choirs, and I love that vintage choir. It's just getting bigger and bigger every year. I don't think there was half this many people when I was singing. She loves it. She absolutely loves it. And the performance, she is the choir diva. She is the church diva. Wherever she goes, she is the diva. And then when she turned 60, I found this modeling thing in the newspaper. I said, let's go out there and try this. So we went out there. They were more interested in her and my son than they were in me. So she just moved on with it, and she's been doing it ever since. It's almost 31 years now.
Glam and I have a lot of similarities, one of them being, modeling and acting. We both enjoy that a lot.
When all my grandchildren, at one time when they were younger, I tried to get them all into doing different things with me in the modeling. And we were I had them in the movie Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then whenever they had anything where they wanted children to come to, I would grab all of them and take them and see that they do it. And of course, Karlee liked, and my daughter too. We both modeled in style shows and stuff, and then Karlee just continued with it. It was something she really enjoyed, so.
My favorite memory, I guess off the top of my head with my mother, would be, we all did a fashion show, and I can't even remember how long ago it was. It was my mother, my sister, Karlee, and I. We did a fashion show, and that's really not my thing, but it was really enjoyable, and I know how much it meant to her as well.
We also share a love for exercise, or just being on the go. Like she really loves to walk. That's something I've really gotten into in the past couple of years. Of course, with COVID, you turn into a dog. Like you're like, yes, I get to go outside and take a walk. So we've been doing more of that, and I'm really excited to bring her to a yoga class. She's still quite limber and flexible for her age, so I feel like Glamma might show me up a little bit in the class, and I'm okay with that.
You know how you stay young? There's a saying that goes, if you don't move, you won't move. And there's a lot of truth to that. So stay active, because they will ask me, how come you're still doing? I said, I have to do these things. I enjoy doing. Do what you enjoy. Don't say you can't do it.
She's still walking. Not so much when it's really cold like this, but in the summertime we walk a lot. And I know she exercises all the time. She likes to go in the sauna. She was out mowing her lawn last September at 90 years old. I called and I said, what are you doing, Mom? I said, I'm mowing the lawn. I thought, oh boy. But she's always been that way. She's been exercising all my life. So that's just who she is.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
My life is full and I'm involved probably in too many things. I belong to a group called Aging But Dangerous.
Shirley is one of our first, I call her like almost the founder of Aging But Dangerous. It's just so important to me to get women communicating with each other. If you're going through a bad time, then let's talk about it. Or just get some help if you need it, or do things that you want to do. I mean, it's just important. I'm a firm believer in connecting. Even if it's just one person, you just connect with them and start talking. It just is like medicine.
While Shirley's zest for life keeps her active and engaged, her family, especially her granddaughter Karlee, worry about Shirley living on her own.
My biggest concern I have for Glamma is that she may not know when to stop going. It is probably like her kryptonite in a way. It's one of her best attributes. And I love that she's so young and lively and youthful. I feel like in a way I don't have a grandparent in the way that other people have talked about their grandparents, which I feel so blessed for. But I do worry a little bit that I'm gonna have to be like, Glamma, maybe let's take a beat. Let's think about this. Let's sit down. Let's, finding that happy balance between still letting her move and be her and vibrant, and but there may come a time where there's a concern where we might have to have a more serious conversation to slow down.
As Shirley will admit, she hasn't spent much time thinking about the future.
We advocate people staying in their homes as long as they can, but there comes a time when you may not be able to do that. So I have an aunt who's 90 plus. She's still in her home. I just talked to her yesterday and she's like, I don't want to leave my home. What am I going to do? And then I was telling her, but there is a community there. Once you get out and experience it, you'll be surprised.
If I had to go to one of those places, I would like for it to be where they have activities. You can volunteer, and where you can volunteer to do things. Because I wouldn't want to sit down. I could even take my sewing machine there, probably. I hope I could take my sewing machine. I haven't done it now for a little while, but.
You had mentioned if you had to move out of your house for a reason, that you already kind of know a place that you'd be interested in.
Yes. And I can accept that. I know nothing lasts forever. Yes, I can accept that. And there's a place I want to look at, actually. And because it's right next to, it's called Sabathani Housing, and it's right next to the Sabathani Center where they have a lot of senior activities. And just out of curiosity, I would love to look at that place.
Now I have a 2-bedroom for you, Miss Shirley.
I think it's important for older adults to get out of their homes and find a community that's interested in some of the same things that they are. So that's what we're trying to do here at the community center, is provide those programs.
Sabathani Community Center Senior Living Apartments came about because we saw a huge need. We saw a lot of folks, again, losing their partners and had lived in this community 30, 40 years and couldn't afford to stay in this community. And we wanted to make it that we honored our seniors and that we did it in a way that they can stay in this community. And the best way we could do that is by building an affordable apartment complex so folks can stay in this community that they learn to love. We don't call it an apartment complex, we call it home, because that's home for our elders, and they deserve it.
All right, I love it. I love this. The tour we took at Sabathani, the Sabathani housing, I had always wanted to see that, and I had never seen the apartments. I'd been there for luncheons, which was very nice, but it was interesting, and I was glad that I could see it. I don't know for sure if I would want to live there, but it's a very nice place.
While the conversations about future planning may still be on the horizon for Shirley and her family, her wisdom and experience offers us some valuable lessons.
I think the biggest misconception about people aging is they have a tendency to think the number makes you old and you won't be able to do anything, instead of understanding that I'm doing these things now. Why do I have to quit just because it says 8-0 or 9-0, you know? That's the misconception I think they have.
If you have older adults in your life, cherish every moment you can spend with them. Because, you know, none of us nobody gets out of here alive. And you just want to spend as much time with them as you possibly can and do things for them, give back.
The one thing I would like to impart with my family is for them to remain a family, to love one another, to stick together. That's the main thing.
As we wrap up our time with Shirley, we've witnessed the power of staying active and engaged, and the importance of how families approach conversations about aging. Next week, we'll delve into the rich traditions of Native American culture with Eleanor and Deb, where the role of creative caregiving and lifelong learning play a crucial role in navigating the challenges for loved ones with cognitive or physical decline.
Production of Inside Senior Living is made possible by Eldermark Senior Living Software, Helmuth & Johnson, Lotus Pharmacy, and Kickernick Gallery.